I saw an experiment.
What are you talking about? Spill the tea, like our friend Monique says in Canada.
It's an experiment about like a plant that has, when it's spoken words, it grows.
No.
And and when there's a plant that like words are spoken of death, it dies. That might be why some of my plants die. Maybe I didn't speak enough life. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. I'm the one who just said it, right? We're going to talk about that today on Coffee with Ken.
You never know what we're going to be talking about with Coffee with Ken.
Welcome to Coffee with Ken.
Good morning.
We're going to talk about that. And we're here with Ken Brown. He's CEO of here at Destiny Global. You got me all like spilling tea and everything,
Beans
thinking
and
of
everything else.
And then we're here with Butch McCracken. He's general manager.
I'm something.
And I am Dr. April Brown. I'm executive vice president of coaching here. And we're getting ourselves together here because there was an experiment, and just to show like how words, and the Bible tells us that life and death are in the power of the tongue. So I think it's really, powerful to know that that is an experiment that has literally been done, and to see that words can create life, or even in plants, or death, and how our words are so important, and how we talk about ourselves, about other people, about things, circumstances. And we've kind of we've seen some of that.
That is related to the law of sowing and reaping. And it is true, because when you see people that grab hold, we can be told lots of things, but it's the words that you grab hold to. And you, as an individual, have a choice to grab a hold of the negative or the positive. Yeah. And one thing about our community, thank you for joining us from our community.
An
and
amazing
for those for the
community.
First time, you definitely want to know this community. The Destiny Global community is like none other, the most edifying, the most encouraging group of people that you will find on planet Earth.
Speaking life,
speaking joy, and holding each other accountable. When we tend to drift a little bit, and we get back on track, right? And so the truth of the matter is that when you start thinking about people that speak life into you, they're usually given a word hope. And I know that you had something that you wanted to share about that.
Yeah, and just even talking to some of our clients, the Millers, Ben and Anna Miller, and they just lost their son, Dakota, about 5 months ago, in October. And just watching them, how careful they are with their words, of how they even speak about him. And how they speak about the hope that they have, and not just about the loss. I mean, they have moments, right, of loss and sadness and all of those things, but also just so intentional with how they speak about the hope, because it tells us that we are to grieve, but not like those without hope, and how important it is to there's a loss there. There's so much emotion to that but there's also, how do you do that with hope?
Yeah. Well, hope is a powerful word. It is a scriptural word. It is a word given to us by the Creator, and it is hope. And when you watch Hope Fulfilled, it is a powerful thing, and He gives us those little things in our life over and over again, signs and wonders, things that He does that just knock us off of our feet or make us think for a moment, wow, that is absolutely incredible. Yeah. And we've seen that over and over again, even how people have come into Destiny Global and been a part of our community, and watching their lives change from, over 30 years. And it continues today. And it's because the power of the message, but it is about hope. And it is about taking action to make hope a reality in your life. Isn't that crazy?
For what you want your future to be versus what it is in today, and how it can be different.
Right.
And a lot of that is what are you thinking and what are you saying that aligns with those things. Very powerful.
And Ben and Anna are a perfect example
in their kids. And being an example to their kids for that.
And working through, you're going to have emotions in it. We see that in Katie Waldrop, who lost her beloved husband, and watching with 6 boys, and then knowing that she has hope and that she has a place where she can gain skill to continue on no matter what life brings her. Do you know what kind of hope that gives a person? That you're not lost in this wandering of sea of bewilderment? And because she's seen that in other people. It's not because it's just make-believe. When you go to a place and you see the results when a person in 8th grade education is a millionaire now, you can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. And you see people succeeding despite obstacle after obstacle of life. And unfortunately, part of our life involves losing those that we love. And we've all done that in our life at some point or another. And being able to work through that and knowing that there's hope, but that hope is greater than ourselves. That hope is in our Creator, endowed in us to know that we were made for something bigger than what we're doing today. And as we step into that, it's glorious and wonderful to see what the next chapter looks like, even though there is pain involved. There's absolute pain involved. There's growth that is required. And growing in relationships and growing and expanding things and getting to know, digging beneath the surface of things. In fact, we were talking to someone yesterday that they were saying they were literally having to, and these are people that are established in the community, having to re-plow their life. Because plowing, when you know a field is ready to be prepped, you've already finished this harvest, you're ready for the next. You have to plow the field to get it ready for the next planting. And when we do that, that means that we're digging deeper, that we're going to get down and we're going to remove the things that were holding us back so we can get to what's really there. Because at the surface level, it can all seem so wonderful and so joyous and just, but you get underneath it and you say, oh so my gosh, there's 4 feet of, weeds getting ready to pop through. But when you start digging through the soil and you start digging through the heart, is when you start experiencing real growth. In relationships, in your job, in your skill sets. Because it doesn't happen on the surface. We have to dig deep, and that's what we do here at Destiny Global. We dig into the matters. Our master trainers, besides yourself, and even Butch over here, even giving input and talking to so many clients every single day, is really digging beneath the surface with Jackie and Carmen at First Steps to Success to dig in and take root and start ripping those things out that are holding us back.
Yeah, I think we're pretty passionate here at Destiny Global about that.
We're not passionate at all.
Yeah.
It's all about sowing and reaping. And we want
But even something you were mentioning about Butch, and I have to tell a little story about him.
This isn't about SpongeBob, right?
No, it's
thank you. Sorry, our beloved.
No, stop. We're not going there. Okay. That you were actually a catalyst for someone who was kind of going through a dark time, even on our that is with Destiny Global, that is on our staff, and someone that is very jovial and happy and can even have those bad days. We all know her, Melissa Hager, and just how you were able to listen and support her and give her words of life.
And you
so way to go, Butch.
Well, thank you. I received that. I'll get to be on the next episode.
He's an amazing general manager. We'll give him accolades. He's due accolades. And sometimes we're like, but you're not on this episode, and he's just like,
he crumbles.
He crumbles.
Okay. And I think what's so important is you don't have to complicate it. When someone talks to you, you don't have to overthink it, right? But the one thing we and I know, especially for myself, is we fail to speak those words of life to ourselves.
So true.
Right?
Butch is preaching, Butch.
There was I was telling Ken about it yesterday, that I was out on a run a couple weeks ago and listening to some different motivational things, and the guy said, you need to look in the mirror every morning and say, I'm proud of you. Tears flowed from my face. All of a sudden a chord was struck. I'm like, Father, where is this coming from? Why am I thinking this, right? And it took me a few minutes, but I got those words out. Right? And it's not about a pompous pride, right? It's about speaking life. That, there's things in my life but we get so busy and we want to speak life into others, which is critical. but we don't speak life into ourselves.
So true.
And we're literally, this is where we can think that, but we're saying words to ourselves already, and they're most likely negative.
Fully.
So why are we not like flipping the script for speaking? Why do we feel so comfortable to say the negative, but we don't feel comfortable to say the positive of affirming ourselves, but we look for it outside of ourselves, which when we don't get it, then we're disappointed.
Yeah.
So why, you probably wanted to hear those words from other people.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
A father, a mother,
Absolutely.
a family member,
A coach.
anybody, a coach.
Yeah.
And looking for that and wanting that, but not giving it to yourself.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, one of the, because I'm really trying to go deeper when things like that happen, rather than go, okay, I said it. Why? And I think it's because, and I was sharing this with a group of guys, I really believe it's because we associate being proud with accomplishments, with good things, which we very rarely see, like you just said. But we can celebrate, and I don't want to use the word failure, because you don't fail unless you quit. But we can celebrate the failures. We can be proud of ourselves because we failed.
Overcame.
Why? Because we tried to do something.
Mm.
We stepped out of a comfort zone. We were met with a situation that we had to deal with,
Yeah.
whatever it may be.
So true.
So be proud of yourselves for the stumbling, for the falling, right?
Yeah.
Because A, you got back up, and B, you have now a new library of how to deal with things. So
Yeah.
pride doesn't have to be an accomplishment, an accolade. It could be a struggle.
It's the journey.
It's the journey.
Yeah.
It's literally the journey. And any place of success that I've got is taken a struggle to get there. You know this. You've seen it.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to get there because you have to work through something to get to the other side.
Embrace the struggle.
And embrace the journey and trust the process.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's just like when you're training, right? Because all this happened because you were training to run halfway around the world, right? At least 30 miles. I don't even like driving that far. And so when you think about that, the reality is that is not just something you get up in the morning and go accomplish. It's something you have to train for.
Totally.
And there's a journey and a process until that process causes you to reflect and push through milestones in your mind that your body is saying, why are you doing this?
Well,
And
that's
you
so good.
And you have to push through to the next level.
That just literally like, hey, I just had a moment here on Coffee with Ken of just realizing some even how to encourage other people that may look like there is something that they failed at or didn't accomplish, but like really put themselves out there, and that is something to be proud of. So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
And speaking life during those tough times. I got
Yes.
this.
Yes.
I can do this. Yeah, it's dark right now, but they call it a light at the end of the tunnel for a reason.
Right.
It's not a
Right.
train coming at the other
It's
end.
not a train. Yeah. But
It's
So
the victory
good.
line.
it's encourage yourselves in a tough time. I got this.
Yeah.
Or whatever it may be. Okay,
Yeah.
what do I do? And reevaluate, because we have everything we need.
Yeah.
We just have to believe in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have to speak it for ourselves rather than look for the affirmation of someone else to be able to get through.
It's so
And
good.
friends are
So
important,
true.
and words of life.
Mhm.
We got to start with ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speak those words.
Because if you
So
actually don't
good.
believe it, it's just words
Speak
spoken
and
in
speak
film.
all day
Yes.
long.
It doesn't matter if you don't receive it. So
Doesn't matter.
or have the good soil
You have to
to
have good
receive
soil.
it. Yeah. Is it, first of all, we might hear it, but we don't receive it. So we might say,
Totally.
nobody's, giving me those affirmations. Nobody's proud of me. But we may have just not received it or heard it. Went through one ear and out the other. But also we may not hear
yes.
it because we can't receive it.
Absolutely.
Why are we going to get words from people when we don't have the soil to receive it? So
Right.
it is preparing our hearts and soul to be able to receive what other people say because we prepared it for ourselves. We've spoken it over ourselves and acknowledged it for ourselves. So
Yes,
it's
so
really
true.
good.
Even in seasons of change, right? Because you don't. Sometimes your future can be a little unclear in how you're settling it, and just believing and staying focused on the process that made you successful to begin with. When you stick to that, and there's so many of you in periods of transition right now, And
So
we
true.
hear you, we see you, and we love you. And we know that you have to stay focused to the process. Don't deviate from the process. Because when you start yielding and giving to the left and to the right is when you start drifting off track. When you drift off track, then you're going to have to get back on track, and that takes a process within itself. So stay focused on the process and the successes that you have to build upon, because you all have them. Every person looking right now, you have successes you can build upon.
Yeah,
But
and
you have
there's
to stay that. But where do we
there's
teach
a
that?
way for them to stay on that process, and it's actually the training that we have is First Steps to Success. We actually have one coming up April 12th through the 14th.
Oh my gosh!
The
in
information.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, we can't forget that. Like
God,
that
it's
is,
just,
we're going
guys,
to New Mexico.
If you don't have your tickets, I don't know what you're doing.
Wait,
I
I
mean,
found
I've-
out too the other day that we, for the first time, have a smaller ballroom for people with families. So those that, well, I've got little kids. This isn't daycare. We're not providing, that.
Yeah.
We're providing an area where if a husband wants to go live in the live room for a little bit and rotate,
That's awesome.
but you can also have it live streamed in that room. So there's a family room that we're providing for the first time ever.
That's
And I
perfect. So
want
if
you
you
to
have
think
a
about that.
family
Yeah.
and you want to bring your kids, they're younger, and you want to bring your kids, but you don't have the person to watch your kids, but you still want to come, get your tickets. The information is below. Be sure to get your hotel.
Yes.
Those are available, and all that information is below. Click on there, get your ticket. We want to see you there so that you can continue to grow in these things and be inside of a community that wants to lift you up, wants to help you, wants to serve you, to get to your goals and to accomplish the things that you want, and to learn how to speak these things to yourself and to others. It's amazing how we
You will.
have all of this as a part of a training. So April 12th through 14th. Get your information, and we'd love to see you there.
Yes.
So,
Yes, we would.
and we want to see you each time on Coffee with Ken. Like, share, comment below what Ken said and what he was asking. Tell us below. Is there something?
Spill the tea.
Yeah, spill
Spill
the
the
tea.
tea.
Spill the tea.
Monique, if you're watching,
Yeah.
here some parts say spill the beans, some parts say spill the tea.
Canadians say
spill whatever
spill
you
the
got,
tea.
but let's hear it.
Yeah. Anyway,
mess.
thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Coffee with Ken.
Have a great day.
Bye.